15 minutes after 7 it is, and this is the AM show with me, Benis Abubedu. Now remember that minority press conference about the recently issued $2.25 billion bond. Well, they cited some conflict of interest there. Between the relationship between the person who bought majority, or the person who represented the company that bought majority of the shares, that's about 95%, and his relationship with Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Now they say one Trevor Gunn apparently is the board chair, is it, of the Enterprise Group Limited. He's the chairman of the Enterprise Group Limited, and also he did this on behalf of Franklin Templeton. The finance minister released a statement. The Bank of Ghana, while being interrogated by the Public Accounts Committee, clarified the issue. But yesterday, one gentleman, Broja Jamfi, decided to petition Shraj, and he's here with me. Let's find out from him why. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Well, but you're part of the minority. You are the NDC youth organizer in the Ashanti region.
Yes,
yes.
I am a member of the NDC.
Okay, you're the
regional officer.
All right, a regional officer. And
I am also a member of the Methodist Church.
Okay, I like that. But as regards this conversation, your membership with the NDC comes in because the minority in Parliament already raised issues with this and said that we're going to fight it till the end. So why not wait for the minority to finish their work? You're not confident that they can do a good job, is it?
Well, there are several issues arising out of this particular transaction, and I am picking on the conflict of interest situation. You should know that it is the minority that first came up with a press conference on the matter, and there was a subsequent response from the Finance Ministry, which for me did not address the matter of conflict of interest. And so, as a citizen of Ghana, I think that I have the right to pick up the issue and ensure that a constitutionally mandated body, such as Shraj, goes into the matter for us to know whether there was a conflict of interest situation. Because in all the responses that have come from the Vice President, from the Ministry of Finance, from other government spokespersons, none of those responses have been able to deal with the conflict of interest.
Are you sure? Okay, well, but for those of you who may not understand why the issue of conflict of interest is being raised, is that this man, Trevor Gunn, is said to be a director of Franklin Templeton, and they actually purchased almost 95% of the bond, and it's an investment organization. And the same Trevor Gunn is also said to be a chairman of Enterprise Group, which is partially owned by Data Bank, and we know the relationship of our finance minister with the Data Bank. And another thing they say is that also with the Enterprise Group, Dr. Angela Ofori-Atta, who's the wife of the finance minister, is a member there. She's a director, and Kelly Gajepo is a director. She's also a business partner of the Finance Minister, Honorable Gloria Kufu, Attorney General and Minister for Justice, and Ken Ofori-Atta himself, the Minister of Finance, is also a director of the Enterprise Group. But you say that the issue of conflict of interest has not been addressed. But others suggest that the fact that Franklin Templeton has been purchasing bonds in this country since, about early 2000s, purchasing a bond this year simply because Ken Ofori-Atta is finance minister, then actually rules out the issue of conflict of interest. There would have been conflict of interest, say, if he actually tried to purchase and was denied for a long time until the MPP came into power, and then he got the opportunity to purchase a bond, or he actually purchased the bond. Well,
it does not. It does not. If you look at all the issues that have come up, it is a fact that Franklin Templeton Investment Limited has been participating in our bonds from 2006, just I think about 11 years. And if you look at the portfolio that they hold in all the transactions they have had with the country. It is not that huge as compared to when they last participated and got 95%. In fact, this is the first time they have participated in a bond of Ghana and been able to get that much.
Okay, but what is the percentage you've been able to purchase now, in previous times? Do you know?
From the information I have gotten from other sources, I get the information that they hold about $2 billion in our bonds before the recent issue. And so if they could get $2 billion within a matter of 11 years, and now in a single bond raise 95%. And this is the first time that we are raising a relationship between a finance minister and a director of
and that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that if this was not the first time, or if this is the first time they are purchasing bonds, then you can establish that. But they've been doing this for a very long time, so it could actually be very coincidental that Ken Ofori-Atta happens to be the finance minister this time, and you can establish the relationship.
This cannot be coincidence.
Why can it not be coincidence if the investment group has been purchasing bonds for a long time?
Let me lead you to a guideline that was published by Shraj on conflict of interest. And the title of that document is Guidelines on Conflict of Interest to Assist Public Officials Identify, Manage, and Resolve Conflict of Interest. This is a document that was published by Shraj. And in that document, this is how Shraj defines conflict of interest. And if you permit me, I will just quote. It says that a conflict of interest refers to a situation where a public official's personal interest conflicts with or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his or her office. In other words, a conflict of interest includes any interest or benefit, financial or otherwise, direct or indirect, participation in any business transaction or professional activity. And so if you get the relationship between Trevor, Gunn, and Enterprise Group, which also the finance minister...
But Enterprise Group didn't purchase the bonds, did they?
We may not know whether they insured... No, you see... When in the investigation of conflict of interest, several issues may come up. You may not know the role of Enterprise Group in this transaction, unless there's an investigation. And that is why I'm before Shraj. And when an investigation is able to establish that that relationship between Enterprise Group and either Franklin Templeton or Trevor Gunn, played a role in this transaction, then there's a clear case of conflict of interest. But we cannot determine that because as it is now, the finance minister himself has not spoken. He has decided to...
He released a statement.
He didn't. It was the finance ministry. The minister himself has not spoken. Because when there is
he's the head of the ministry, isn't he?
When there's an issue of conflict of interest, you see, conflict of interest situation takes you out of the organization. You will be on your own because you have to explain your action and the relationship you have with other business interests. And so to get the vice president to say that the minority is ignorant does not address the issue of conflict of interest.
So you're not even satisfied with the response from the Bank of Ghana?
The Bank of Ghana has not dealt with the conflict of interest situation. In fact, they cannot deal with it unless the finance minister himself, and he has decided not to speak.
So how do you expect the finance minister to deal with this?
He should be able to declare his interest in the matter.
What if he doesn't have an interest in the matter?
He should speak. He should give us explanation why he doesn't have an interest in the matter. Because from the report, which was published on the 5th of April by Reuters, in fact, it is the Reuters report that raises the issue that in a semi-annual financial document of Franklin Templeton, it is stated in that document as at 31st December 2016 that Trevor Gunn is a director of Franklin Templeton.
Okay.
And in that same document, it is stated that Trevor Gunn is a chairman of the Enterprise Group. And so the finance minister must speak to it. If we do not have the power or the resources to get him to speak, we must get to a constitutional body that will get him to explain the matter clearly. And
so have you given this petition to
Yes,
Shraj?
The petition is before Shraj. I was happy yesterday that the commissioner of Shraj indicated on radio that he has seen the petition. In fact, I sent the petition by 10 a.m. in the morning of yesterday, and he says that he got information about it by 12 noon. So it means that Shraj has the petition, and he has indicated that within a matter of 1 week, all the commissioners are going to sit and decide whether there is a case for an investigation.
And if there's no case for an investigation,
well,
would you want to take it a step higher?
I believe that there is a case because all the documents that I have attached to the petition. Remember, the information in the public domain is just about the petition.
Exactly.
There are several attachments.
Yes, I can see that here. Yes, a lot of attachments
to it, and then there's also an appendix which is the guidelines published by Shraj. So I think that there's enough information.
Mr. Jeffy, I appreciate, but obviously if you didn't think there was no case, you wouldn't put a petition before Shraj. Yes. But like you mentioned, the commissioner says they would all come together to verify if there really is a case. And I'm asking, if they tell you there's no case, would you want to take this?
Well, let us get to that bridge and cross it. But I have confidence in Shraj to be able to deal with the matter. That's why I'm before Shraj. So whatever outcome that come up,
you'd accept whatever outcome if Shraj says.
I have to accept. Okay. And if there are other avenues that I want to take up, but I think that on this case of conflict of interest, it is within the mandate of Shraj to deal with. So I believe that Shraj will go into it. Would get to hear a lot of issues because in this petition I have copied the Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States through the U.S. Embassy in Ghana.
A very long list.
And I know
you've copied the President,
yes.
You've copied the Chief Justice, you've copied Gloria Kufu herself, who's also one of the directors of Enterprise Ghana. You've copied President Akufo-Addo, the Speaker, but I don't see...
The Chief Justice,
okay,
copied
you've copied the Minister. The Honorable Minister of the Ministry of Finance.
I've copied Trevor
himself through
the U.S. Embassy and also the Security and Exchange Commission of the United States. This is a big matter. You see,
I appreciate, but you see, Mr. Jeffy, you seem to be very confident, of course, that you have a case, which is, like I've mentioned, if you didn't have a case, you wouldn't petition Shraj. But if Shraj comes out to say, Mr. Jeffy, it's not what you thought it was, the way you are sounding, I see that you may struggle to accept such a verdict.
No, not at all. I am a Democrat, and I believe in the decisions of constitutionally mandated bodies. And that is why I have gone to Shraj. I wouldn't have gone to Shraj if I didn't believe.
Is there any political influence in this?
Not at all, not at all. In fact, it is my interest as a citizen of Ghana. The figures involved in this particular deal is very huge. People are not looking at that because if in a single transaction we could raise $2.25 billion, when you convert it to Ghana cedis, it's about 9 billion Ghana cedis. That is how much President Kufuor left for us as our total debt portfolio, both domestic and external, when President Kufuor was exiting office in 2008. It was, our total debt was about 9.5 billion Ghana cedis. And so that is how much we are talking about. And if a single investor could get 95% of that, well, there would have not been any issue.
Mr. Jeffy, you still didn't answer my question about the previous percentage of bonds they were able to buy.
Well, I will not be able to give you, but from the information I have.
Would that not add to your case then? So if they were able to, say, for example, purchase 80% last year or last 2 years, isn't it not just business sense that they should be able to purchase 95% this year?
It's good that you are telling me, so I thank you very much.
No, I'm not saying it as a statement of fact. I'm just saying that I think that you should
I will take up and research on that one. And then once the petition is before charge, I can go in and add a lot of information since they have not concluded on the matter. So I'll look at it. But I stated that if you look at the history of Franklin Templeton Investment Limited in purchasing our bonds, you would realize that between a matter of 11 years, within a matter of 11 years, they could get $2 billion from the participation in our bonds. And so if in a single bond issue, they could also get $2 billion, that alone raises a lot of issues for us to go into it and see why we are at this stage.
A lot may agree with you, but thank you so much for your time, Mr. Jamefi, Albroja Jamefi, has petitioned Shraj on the recently issued $2.25 billion bond, which has created a lot of controversy. But like he mentioned, we'll see what comes out of this investigation by the Commission on Human Rights.
I thought that I was going to be labeled citizen vigilante number 2 because this is a matter of public interest.
All right, okay, but you're still the regional youth.
Yes, Martin Amidu is still a member of the NDC.
Anyway, he belongs to the NDC. I'm sure he just wanted me to say that. Thank you so much for coming.